Its history began 4.5 billion years ago in the chaos of the young solar system. Of course, there are no exact dates, but we know some things for sure. Mars is Earth's older brother. It formed faster in just 10 to 20 million years, while Earth and Venus slowly absorbed for tens of millions of years. It makes sense. It is easier to gather material from a protoplanetary disk into a small ball than into a large one, but there is a nuance here. Would you think that the oldest planet is tiny Mercury? Number. It is Jupiter. There is no contradiction. Planets are divided into inner like Mars and outer gas giants. Mars is the last of the inner planets, and Jupiter is the first of the outer planets. The Sun's gravity is weaker away from the center, and there is more matter. That is why the giants formed earlier. How do we know about Mars's venerable age? The clues lead us straight from the sky. In Martian meteorites, analysis of zircon in one of them showed an age of 4.547 billion years. Only 20 million years younger than the solar system itself. Why did the red planet stop growing and not become a second Earth? The blame is usually placed on Jupiter, whose gravity intercepted the building material. But this delay had a positive side. Mars had a head start of 50 or even 100 million years over Earth. Did it manage to take advantage of this? To understand this, scientists divide the history of the planet into 4 eras. The Devonian period. This is the era of the head start. Unfortunately, almost nothing is known about it. The oldest parts of the surface that we can see are only 3.8 billion years old. The early solar system was a brutal place. Collisions were the norm, and Mars did not escape this fate. In 2017, an abnormally high content of platinum and iridium was found in its mantle. Elements that, by weight, should have sunk into the core, unless, of course, another planet collided with Mars, leaving its evidence in the mantle. Perhaps the opponent was a giant asteroid the size of Ceres. This same theory explains another mystery. Why does Mars look like a half-peeled orange? The northern hemisphere is a smooth, polished lowland, while the southern hemisphere is an ancient, cratered highland. This can be partly explained by an ancient ocean, but it is possible that it was a powerful impact that stripped the crust from half of the planet. In this cataclysm, as with Earth during the birth of the moon, Mars moons Phobos and Deimos may have been born. By the end of the Devonian period, Mars had cooled and acquired an atmosphere, and here it is, a window of opportunity. 4.4 billion years ago, it may have already had a hot ocean and dense air. The first chance for life could have opened up long before it appeared on Earth. Noahic period. The Golden Age of Mars. It began 4.1 billion years ago and lasted 400 million years. This was an era of prosperity. Bombardment continued, creating giant structures such as the Isis Planitia, which is 1,200 kilometers in diameter. The impacts triggered frenzied volcanism, and the volcanoes saturated the atmosphere with greenhouse gases, trapping heat. It was then that a network of rivers and lakes was born. The Perseverance rover has confirmed with 100% certainty that the crater where it operates was once home to both a river and a lake. Coupled with a powerful magnetic field and a warm climate, this convinces most scientists that life on Mars was more than possible during the Noachian period. Hesperian period, the Great Dying. 3.7 billion years ago, the drama began. Mars's magnetic field died out, volcanoes fell silent, and it became colder. The planet was shaken by monstrous floods. Valleys like Kase, with channels tens of kilometers wide, are traces of catastrophes when volumes of water equal to thousands of Volga rivers burst onto the surface. And yet life could have persisted. A salty ocean up to a kilometer deep splashed on the northern plain, and the temperature reached plus 50 degrees Celsius. Structures strikingly similar to fossilized microbes have been found in the Nakla and Shergoti meteorites. It is difficult to prove, but for many, the question of life in that era remains rhetorical. It was then that Olympus grew, a giant without equal. It is so large that it cannot be seen in its entirety from the surface of Mars. Part of it is hidden behind the horizon. Its crater is 10 times larger than the largest volcano on Earth, and there is almost a vacuum at its summit. And most importantly, it is not dead. The Mars Express probe discovered that Olympus last erupted only 2 million years ago, the Amazonian period. Not so dead after all, it has lasted for the last 2.9 billion years. It is traditionally described as an era of death, but new data refutes this. Firstly, conditions for life did not disappear 2 billion years ago, but possibly only hundreds of millions of years ago. Second, Mars is not geologically dead. Over 4 years, the InSight spacecraft recorded more than 500 Marsquakes. The planet's core turned out to be not a cold ball, but a layer cake with a liquid mantle and a dense core. And in 2023, while studying images, scientists made a sensational discovery. Mars, like Earth, ice ages and thaws. Moreover, it is now emerging from an ice age. If all its ice melted, Mars would be covered by a global ocean up to 10 meters deep. The carbon dioxide frozen in the polar caps would evaporate, creating a dense atmosphere with a greenhouse effect. Elon Musk's dream may come true on its own. We have been studying Mars for only half a century and have already turned all our ideas about it upside down 3 times. Who knows? Maybe the Great River will return to its bank. The history of the Red Planet, contrary to all expectations, has not yet been written. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like,